Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans, welcome to Talking in Ovals. I'm Alex Cuesta, my partner in crime over there, Dave Hyatt, hanging out. What's going on, brother?
Not much, Matt. I cannot believe that this is our 39th episode. I look forward to Monday evening every single week. It's the highlight of my week.
It's certainly fun. We're closing in soon on a year, and I like what we got going on here. But before we get into all the fun stuff, we're recording today, Monday, May 15th, 2023. If you like what you're hearing, please give us a like, share, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, spread this word of mouth, go interact with us on these socials. Just go search Talking in Ovals. You'll see the logo. We are all over there. So last week we had an awesome episode, Dave. We talked to Robbie Andrews. We just keep on running down the New Jersey greats, and it was a great time. We got to talk about his career and everything, and he mentioned 1,000 times how pumped he is about Josette and everything she's doing. So certainly go back and give that a listen. Not only is it a great show to talk about New Jersey, but also just to talk about pro running and things like that and the ins and outs. And we get into that stuff a little bit. So definitely go back, give last week's episode a listen. And Hyatt, we have PRs again. That gets whenever we have PRs. You want to get us going?
I will do my best. From the Ocean County Championships from Manchester, we have Mubarak Adaragba, who jumped 23 feet, 8.05 inches. It is now the number one jump in New Jersey. Obviously, he was county champ. And then we have Bella Palmiati, who defended her triple jump title at the Ocean County Championships, jumping 37 feet, 9 inches. Brian Swain, also from Manchester, won the pole vault in 14 feet, ties the school record. We have the Mubarak Adaragba also won the Ocean County Championships in the triple jump, jumping 46 feet, 5. 4x1 team broke the school record. We have Manny Swain, Tyrone Benjamin, Joe Kurak, and Mubarak Adaragba winning the Ocean County title in 42.98. And they took second overall as a team, which was pretty cool. It was come down to them and Southern going into the last event, and Manchester held them off for a great second place performance just behind Toms River North.
Yeah, and shout out to Toms River North. They ran away with that meet early. So I got to give them a shout out because they just blew everybody away. So good for them. And Coach Griff, Coach Chef doing some great stuff down there for Manchester. So we're pumped about that. And Chef, if you're listening, you're coming on the show. You don't have a choice. We got Griff. You're going to come on at some point. So let me run through my PRs. We have a whole bunch here from our good friend Westfield, Coach Stefelski. Johnny Scalia ran a 154.4 in the 8. Jimmy Gildea ran a 157.05 in the 800. Ty Flannery, 456.78 in the 16. Fraser Perrin, 512.38 in the 16. Mason Marino threw 171 feet and 8 inches in the javelin. Owen Paul threw 160 feet, 6 inches in the disc. Ben Abrams, 48 feet, 9 inches in the shot. So congrats to all you guys PRing there from Westfield. Got some ladies from Lacey here. We got Olivia Miller, 100-meter freshman record, 12.99. Cookie Bell, javelin freshman record, 103 feet, 10 inches. And New Balance freshman national qualifier. Katrina Conti in the 100-meter ran a 13, 14, and 400. Also ran the 400 and 62.47. And Reese Padgett ran a 6.7 best, 12.13 in the 32. And last but not least, South Brunswick, Jason Kaiser doubling up here, 14.58, 110 high hurdles and 22.07, 200. Demarion Potts with the 6'10 high jump school record, tied New Jersey's number 1 currently. Braden Pullman, 172 feet, 10-inch javelin. Carol Porbeni, 56.62, 400 intermediate hurdles. Aiden Silva, 427.73, 16. And Ibrahim Fiknos, I'm sorry, I butchered your last name. Ibrahim Fiknos, 12 feet in the pole vault. So everyone, congrats on big PRs. Fantastic.
I got one more coach.
What do we got?
I have to give a shout out to Coach Sean McCafferty and CBA 1600 Monmouth County Championships. They went 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Connor Clifford ran 413.74. Nick Sullivan 414.36. Joe Barrett 415.63. Lucas Ward 420.21, and Zach Schroba 423.96. I mean, those are times he would run in the needed champs back when we were in school. Now those are like county champs. It's ridiculous how fast everyone's run now. We say it every week.
So
it's
dumb.
Absolute insanity.
Yes, and here on the show, we don't discriminate against CBA. CBA, we got you. Anyway, so on to this week's show, because this week's show, we are continuing New Jersey greatness. And I want to say, like, I was a contemporary of this person. We graduated the same year, but it sure as hell does not feel like it. Because while she was there, she was dominating every meet. Every single track meet she was at, there was a chance for a meet record to go down. And it was just incredible to watch her. She's Danielle Barnes, formerly known, and a lot of people know her as Danielle Tauro. She's a New Jersey running legend, Michigan cross-country track and field great, and now coaching at West Ottawa High School in Holland, Michigan. Danielle, what's going on?
Not much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We are pumped to have you. I mean, I reached out to you and I was like, shot in the dark. I don't even know if Danielle remembers anything about me, and I doubt it. But it was just cool for you to answer and come on.
You were a short conference champ in the 800. Come on.
I was a short conference county champ, but it was like okay times where Danielle's just sitting here like dominating and like getting like 200-meter like wins in county and conference championships. I'm like out kicking guys in a slow race that they just let me hang on for way too long.
Hey, my favorite kind of races.
A win is a win.
Sit and kick.
A win is a win. Sit and kick. And that was my whole style. So Danielle, I want to jump right into it with you. Our first segment, we ask everybody, and everyone kind of gives us a similar but different answer. So I want to see what you have here. When did the spark kick in for you that I could do this running thing for a really long time? Because it's different for everyone. So what was the moment when you're like, yep, this is it for me?
Well, I didn't even really know I could be a good runner to begin with. Before I started, I was on a whole different trajectory with my life. I was into musical theater, and I had been performing on the stage and singing and dancing from the time I was 9 years old all the way up to freshman year of high school. And it wasn't until my high school coach, Brian Zatorsky, saw me in the hallways as a middle schooler and just kind of like grabbed me by the arm and was like, "You look like a runner." He's like, "I think you could be pretty awesome at this." And I was like, "Really? Oh my gosh, that's cool. Like someone believes in me in something." So I was just really intrigued by what he had to, say. And I remember he gave me this letter, and it like talked about, his belief in, what the potential for our team and our program and what he thought I could do, just based on a quick, brief interaction in middle school. So I was just so excited about, trying something new and teaming up with this guy that, has all this faith in me and sees something in me. So I kind of took a leap of faith and went out for cross country, and I literally had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even own a pair of running shoes. I showed up at practice and was just like in my like Vans shoes and like literally never did any sort of running. So I was dying on the warm up. I was a mess. I wanted to quit basically after the first week of training. And then my dad just kept saying, he's like, "Oh, you're a couch potato." He's like, "Yeah, I knew you wouldn't like actually follow through on this." And like that just lit a fire under me. And I was like, "No, I'm going to prove you wrong." So I stuck with it. And I think like initially, I was excited about it, but like I really truly stuck with it because I really wanted to prove my dad wrong. And that's always been something that motivated me, is just like proving people wrong. So when I hear people doubt me, like that fuels my fire like no other. But I would say I didn't really know that I could be really that good in the sport until it was a dual meet against Tom Zarist, I believe. And my high school coach was like, Zatorsky, he pointed out a girl at the starting line, and it happened to be Lexi. I'm blanking on her last name right now, but she was like an indoor state champion at, I think, the mile or the 800. And I had no idea who she was. Like, it was kind of like that ignorance is bliss type of moment.
Sometimes that is the absolute best when you
exactly, especially with running, because it's such a mental sport.
Absolutely.
So sometimes like the less you know, the better. Like, and my freshman year was like
100%. Yep.
Totally one of those situations. And so I lined up next to this girl. He's like, just go run with her. He's like, just go sit on her for like the first 1,000 meters, and then with 600 to go, I want you to really start to hammer it. He's like, just start going with 600 to go. They're not going to like go with you. They're going to be like, what is she doing? She miscounted the laps. So I was like, okay, I'll just do that. And I did it, and I like had hit a huge PR. I think I ran like 5:11 that day. And he's like, you just beat a state champion. And I was like, what?
There is no such thing better than like a naive coachable athlete, right? There's like nothing better than like them like not knowing what they're doing and just trusting what you're saying. And it's like, as like an experienced runner now, if like coach was like, all right, start your kick at 600, you'd probably be like, are you sure? Like, right, I don't want to do that. Like, but
it's kind of like telling like an elementary kid to like go race a mile. They just like take it out in the first 200 meters and just hammer, because they have no sense of like their pain tolerance and like how bad it's going to hurt. They just go like blind faith, that kind of thing. And that's what I did, like my entire freshman year. I just, whatever my coach told me to do, I was going to follow that plan. I didn't have any like idea of what it was going to feel like. I just knew that's what I was going to do.
And that's great when a athlete has complete faith in their coach, because, like I know I did in the high school, whatever my coach said, I would just do, and I would listen. And I'd say 98% of the time he was spot on. So it's always nice when you can have that relationship with your coach where there's nothing but complete trust.
Exactly.
It certainly is. And I love that, Dave, this is a completely different story than anything that we've gotten really so far. A lot of the people we got were like, I was a basketball player, a football player, a swimmer. I wanted nothing to do with running. And then here's Danielle, who was just like dominant, and the Danielle Tauro that everybody knows was just a monster on the track. Little did we all know, she was like, I want to do theater. What is this running thing? And, thank God that like coach grabbed you. And it's weird because as a coach, like, and you probably know now, you do look at kids and you're like, could probably mold them into a miler. Like you look at them and it's like, yeah, I definitely made. So it's like, that's really, I love that story. So I want you to now, we talked about your spark. We talked about your beginning. Take us down memory lane. What are some of your best memories starting from back like when you were first doing it freshman year? Take us all the way through like NJNY team and everything like that.
Yeah. Oh man. Where to begin?
And don't get anybody in trouble.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. You can.
I mean, there's so many amazing memories. High school track is just sprinkled with just so many beautiful experiences and moments. And I think a lot of it just comes down to like feeling just such a trust and connection and bonding with my teammates, and just like building so much confidence in myself and my ability to do really like anything that I set my mind to. Yeah. Like it's really one of those things that like transferred over to so many different realms of my life. So I think that's like, that is a huge like piece of why I just fell in love with this sport so much. And high school running is really like, that's where it really builds that for your confidence and all of those transferable skills. So, I mean, I loved it. My freshman year, I think it really started to click for me, I guess a little bit during cross season at like the freshman, like 2-mile championships. I remember just like, being at the front for once, because I was only racing against freshmen. And like, I think I went through in like 6 minutes in the first mile. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm rolling. Like, let's keep going. Right. And I ran like low 12 minutes in the grassy loop at Ocean County Park in a 2-mile. And I was like, that felt good. Like, and I won my first medal and won my first race. I was like, oh, this is exciting. Yeah. So that's definitely something that stands out to me, at least in cross country, and just something that made me want to keep going. Because I don't think if I had some of those moments where it's like I could see a little bit of potential to get somewhere with it, that I probably would have chosen to do the theater show at our school, like during the indoor track season. And that really would have like really would have slowed down my progression, I would say, my freshman year.
Go ahead, Dave.
Was the bubble there when you were in school, or did you have the unfortunateness of running at Red Bank?
We had that our last 2 years, I think, Danielle. I think 06, 07, we had that, like 05, 06, 06, 07.
Yep. Definitely my senior year. I don't remember if it was junior year as well.
Junior
But
year we had that just got built or something.
Red Bank was just a hellhole of a
Red
place.
Bank sucked.
oh, yeah. It was like, what was
160
it?
meters.
Floor,
160 meters.
floor.
And it was like square. Yeah. It was
and then there were
like a
times
wrestling mat.
Yeah, then there were times where we'd compete at Jersey City in the Armory.
And that was wood.
That was like a wood floor.
Wooden floor. Yep.
Jersey City hurt.
Yep. Wooden floor tape.
What were we doing? Like, you couldn't even race in spikes. You had to race in your flats.
Nothing like they have now.
And the Atlantic Club we went to a few times in Lakewood, the Atlantic Club, which is all around tennis courts. And
I never ran
we
there.
just raced everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like now. Like, and we couldn't wear spikes in Princeton either. Princeton was all waffles.
Princeton was all flats. Yep.
So I have a question
and
for you.
the stands were like a mile away from the track. The spectators couldn't even see what was going on.
So I have a question for you as a coach now, because you kind of said, like, if you didn't have the success you had early on, you maybe wouldn't have stuck with it. What are your challenges with kind of keeping those middle of the pack kids where, you know, you definitely need that depth, like especially cross country, it's all about the depth. Not everyone is going to be the star, the standout, the winner. What do you do right now to try and keep your athletes hungry that maybe they're not doing, you know, now all three of us here had success in our careers at times, not to your level, but we were all good runners. But like, what's your strategy now of trying to keep those runners hungry, to keep that depth for them to understand, like, hey, we're only as strong as our fifth runner here. So 5 through 8 needs to be going hard all the time too.
Yeah, I know. We always try to, like, especially with the middle school program, just like we're constantly trying to find ways to just like reload instead of like rebuilding when a bunch of our seniors are graduating. I mean, and last year we lost a ton of seniors. Like, we had such a talented group of seniors with like 6 or 7 senior athletes that had left, and they were all like all conference kids. Like, they were great. So it was really tough, but we're constantly in a state of just trying to rebuild and getting younger kids excited about what they can do and helping them believe in an early age that they can push themselves a lot harder than they ever like truly realized, like that they can handle and push themselves to just a much deeper level. And just trying to help them like learn to just kind of embrace that and not be afraid of the pain and the, you know, that is running, the suffering. We call it shared suffering. So we really, really try to preach that, and that like when we're together and we're pushing each other, that we're stronger and we can get through those moments of self-doubt and the really difficult just discomfort that you experience in the long grind workouts. You know, we help each other through it. So we try to just encourage each other and lift each other up and keep each other excited. And I think something that also helps is like Kyle and I my husband will have conversations with the younger athletes about like finding the race within the race, and that like everyone has a race to win. It doesn't just mean you win if you are the only person that, you know, you finish the race first. Like, there's always like smaller packs of people that you can find and race with. And if you know, outkick those people or beat them ultimately to the line, like, you won your race, you know, so we try to help frame it that way, because not everyone's going to be at the front. But if they can just continue to set the bar higher for themselves, and they always have like, you know, wins that they can get excited about, and momentum to help keep pushing them to work hard, because it is a grind.
It's a great philosophy. And like, your legs never feel heavier than in the middle of the race when you say I can't. Then your legs become a ton of bricks. And like, we all have those moments in races where it's like, yeah, I could just stop now. And then you have to like go, like, get back onto it. So
I want to bring you back a little more, because not only was it you at Southern Regional, you had some ridiculously fast teammates with Julian Smith, Chelsea. I mean, what was it like just having so much talent? Like knowing that every time that you guys would go into any relay race, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that you guys were going to be up there and probably win. What was it like to have people like that to train with? And I mean, it was just, I was in awe of how fast all of you guys were. Southern Girls Trackton was an absolute juggernaut. I mean, they were winning county meets by 60, 70 points. It was unbelievable. So what was that?
It was fun. It was fun to watch.
It was magical, honestly. Like, I mean, I think Zatorsky is very, very much a part of the reason why we developed and we're as fast and we're as strong and tough as we were. But I think we also just kind of got a little bit lucky too, with just having people of that had just so much God-given talent, like on the team at the same time. And like, not only that, like we got along so well. Like we truly wanted each other's success as much as we wanted our own. Like I remember constantly like finishing races, group state championships, conference, all the things. And I would look back at the finish line, and the first thing I would look for is Jill coming across. Like, who's coming next? Please let it be Jill. You know, like I wanted it for her as much as I wanted it for me. And honestly, like if she beat me some days, like I wouldn't care. Like as long as it was Southern regional uniforms coming in first and second, or 1, 2, 3, like that is what drove us. And I think because we all sacrificed for each other and like cared for each other that much, like it made the grind every day and workouts and the races just so much more fun. Right. Like there's memories of Jill and I and Chelsea, like literally just sprinting up Bruno's Hill, which is like a almost 400-meter hill right across from Bruno's Meat Market off of Route 9 in South Jersey. And we would do all of our hill workouts there, and we'd do like 8 by basically 400-meter hill sprints. And we'd be hammering out there. And there was always like a 30-mile-an-hour like headwind we'd be running against. And Jill and I would be like stride for stride right next to each other, both like hyperventilating as we're sprinting up the hill. And then we'd get to the top and like be trying to catch our breath and each trying to take a puff of our inhaler because we're dying. And we'd be laughing because we're like, this is so ridiculous right now. Like, who does this? Like
we're 17, 16-year-olds just ripping this.
Right.
What? Like, what are we doing here?
I know. But like we had to have that sort of like humor to help us kind of get through those really ridiculous grinds. And just knowing that like, again, that person right next to us like was suffering just as much as we were, like just made it so much more manageable and just enjoyable. Like because we were together.
Last week we had on Robbie Andrews, and he could not emphasize enough how much fun that he had winning the pin relays with his teammates. So like, I can't imagine the film, but what was it like going into pin relays, knowing that you're one of the best teams, and then coming out of that with a win, DMR, with your 3 pals? Like that has to be just the coolest feeling. So did you get more enjoyment out of anything that you did with your team in terms of a relay as opposed to anything you did as an individual?
Yeah, I would say the relays were the highlight of my career. Pen relays is just so special because it is like truly a celebration of track and field. Like it's like going to a concert. But you know, everyone is just so passionate and
the jerk chicken is so good every year. The jerk chicken is so good.
Oh, I know. The jerk chicken and just like all the festivities around the entire facility. Like it is so fun. Every year, our team at West Ottawa, like my husband and I are constantly talking about how can we get our team to go to Penn Relays? Because like that would just make it like literally like one of the highlights of our team's season, because it's just so much fun and there's nothing like it out here. So just like having the opportunity just to go there, to see it, to, you know, even if we weren't going for the title, to just like get our feet wet in that stadium and hear the roar of the crowd was so cool. But to go there and actually
winning it is pretty badass though too.
Yeah. Like it was just insane. And it was kind of a whirlwind too. Cause I remember my teammate Jessica Bergen, who ran the 400 leg of the DMR, and we were seniors, and we were just coming back from our senior trip in Orlando, Florida. Wow. And like, so like our training was just like all over the place the week going into to Penn Relays. Like it was not definitely not optimal at all.
I remember Jessica was a good 400 meter runner too. Jessica was a very good 400 meter runner too. She was no slouch.
Yep, she was like a 58-second split, like consistently. And she went to college at Cornell, I believe, and ran track there.
So smart too.
Yeah, really smart. She was like our valedictorian of our class. Like she ridiculously smart.
Nice.
But yeah, so we were coming back and we're like, okay, hopefully we hydrated and we did all the things. Like, let's just go. Let's see where we're at. And I just remember like seeing Chelsea Cox, like as a freshman, just like took it out in her 1200 leg. Like I think she No, it was Jill that ran the 1200
12, yeah.
and she just, we knew like what she had in her, and she just like she was perfect. Like she ran such a fast split and like handed off the baton to Jess, and she was just solid as always. And then Jess handed off to Chelsea, who is like, the freshman, the least consistent one, still trying to figure it out. And, the 800 was a new distance for her at that point. And so I remember she got the baton and she just started eating people up. Like she just saw a target and was like, I'm going to get it. Right. Like, and she split like 223 or 224, which is like one of her fastest splits ever. And like, I think just knowing like what they were capable of and what they had done on that day, like just gave me so much excitement before I got handed off that baton, that I was like, I was just so excited and ready to go. Like, and to me, because we trained together every day and worked so hard together, and we're on the same program, just having that belief in our training and seeing how well they did just gave me so much more confidence, knowing that like, all right, I'm ready to go too. So I got that baton. It was basically a 4-lap victory lap for me, because
that was a crazy time, because like the DMR in Jersey at the time, even in the circumference, because like there were the Trotter sisters who were great at Red Bank, like just like it was such a huge run of just incredible DMRs from Ocean and Monmouth County. It was a very fun time.
Yeah. To bring home that wagon wheel was just like, it was epic. It was definitely a huge highlight to my high school career. And, to this day, whenever I head back to Jersey and head into the halls of Southern Regional, as soon as you walk in the 11-12 building, you see right on the wall mounted is the giant like Penrose wagon wheel. It's very special and very sacred to us.
So was there more excitement or nerves when you were getting that baton? Because at that point, your senior year, everybody in that crowd knew who Danielle Tauro was. Every single person knew who you were. And like, obviously you were trying to go out there and to put on a show too, because it's Penn relays. So when you were getting that baton, was there more excitement to like, hell yeah, I'm about to go do what I do? Or more like, Danielle, don't fall flat on your face here. Like everyone's here to watch you at this point, and you're about to get the baton and go win this thing. Like, don't mess this up.
Yeah. I think it was like, honestly, a little bit of both. I was never a great time trialer. Like, and I still to this day, like I can't push myself by myself like I can when I'm competing. So like getting the baton in the lead is not ideal for me, like personally.
Which is hilarious, like, considering how many races I saw you just like win by like 200 meters. It's hilarious to hear you say that, because like there were so many races where you were just on your own.
But in those races, I didn't take the lead until like 600 to go or 400 to go. I would just like hammer the heck out of it. Like that's when I would just open it up. But like
she was usually like the person in second was usually one of her teammates. So it wasn't like,
Yeah, right. Is myself and Jill like
Chelsea,
us kind of sharing laps, and then every man for himself at the end. But it was, so it was a little nerve-wracking getting the baton in the lead. But I just, and I think coming off of like being on vacation in Florida for multiple days, I was like, ugh, hopefully the training didn't, mess me up. But ultimately I was like, all right, just dig deep these first few laps, and once I get to the bell lap, I'm good. Like then you just hammer. Like I always knew I had that. It's just the middle couple laps, being by myself out there trying to keep the pace pretty honest was always a challenge for me. But I knew what my teammates had put out there, and I was not going to lose it for them.
That's awesome. So have you, Jill and Chelsea, ever just sat back and kind of like realized like the special bond that you guys had? Because it had to be, because it could have really easily went sideways, right? Like you were the senior, you were the one that was known, and then here comes Jillian, and Jillian is, just as much of a juggernaut, super talented. In comes Chelsea, super talented. Like, did you guys ever sit back and look at it and like, because this could have went a different way. It could have went like, no, this is my house. You guys wait your turn. But instead, you guys, obviously, you could see it on the track too. You guys were all excited for each other. You guys all competed, against each other as much as you were for each other. Have you guys ever sat back and talked and been like, this could have been different? Or was it just something that you as a leader wanted to do for the younger athletes?
Yeah, I think it definitely for sure could have been different. When I was a freshman, we had girl on the team named Lauren Lewis, and she was
very good too.
Athlete herself. Yeah, she was a senior when I was a freshman, and so like we had a really big age gap there, but she was kind of used to working out on her own and not really kind of having her own training plan.
Yeah.
And so like toward the end of my freshman year, I started to kind of jump in a couple workouts with her. And that was really nice to have someone, but like we didn't have the bond like I developed with Jill. And I think a lot of that was my personality just would like, I am not the type of person that would ever like try to hurt someone else, like I'm a helper by nature. I am a people pleaser to my core. And so like, I think it was just always in my nature to just try to help like support the next person coming up, and want to create a really positive team culture like that. But I think a lot of it was also facilitated by Zatorsky because he was just super brilliant with the things that he would just instruct me to do. So when I was a sophomore and Jill was an 8th grader, the high school team went to the middle school teams meet, and we were cheering them on, supporting them. And Zatorsky goes to me, he's like, "You see that girl? That's Jill Smith." He's like, she's like a 220 low 800 kid, like in middle school. He's like, "Go up to her and be like, hey, you ran a great race. I can't wait to be your teammate next year." I was like, all right, let's do it. So I went up to her and I met her, and she I think she was pretty much like, "Oh my gosh, like
Danielle Tauro."
Yeah. And I was just like, "Hi, so nice to meet you." And just was really warm and welcoming toward her. And basically as soon as she came up freshman year, it wasn't really until indoor track season, like when we became teammates, but that's when like I really started to like take her under my wing, and I was like, "Here, come run with me, or let's do this together." Like, and it became really natural. Like she was like a little sister to me, and to this day we're best friends. We've been in each other's weddings, like we still are. And same with Chelsea. Chelsea was a little bit younger than me, and I only had 1 year with her. Mm-hmm. But I still saw her like a little sister. And so I was going to protect her and do whatever I needed to do to make sure she was like heading on the right path.
And it's like interesting because I remember like a lot of our top athletes all years, most of them were pretty cool. Like I don't remember too many. Like I know like Craig Forries was a decent guy. Like he wasn't like, he was good, but he really didn't rub many people's noses in it. Like he just did what he did. And like Andrew Brodeur was a nice guy. And even like on the girl side, you mentioned trotters and stuff. Like I don't know if you had that experience, like, but I felt like most people like, yeah, it was business on the track, but off the track, there wasn't really that much of a like, it was more of like a friendly atmosphere, unlike the way Dave grew up where he hated everyone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I joke around with some of the girls I coach now, like just to try to like help them dig deep and like find their killer instinct. I'll be like, just pretend that they like wronged you or something, and like just like bring out like make a story in your head and like try to get angry at them for a little bit, and then when you're done, you could go back to being friends. That's fine. But like
especially in cross country
mode, like dig deep, find that killer instinct. And I think that's something that we all tried to do, but I think when it came down to it, we all respected each other. Like essentially like the girls that we competed against during the races became our teammates. Like, yes, I wanted to beat them, but like we needed each other. Like no one was going to run as fast as they did if we didn't have each other pushing back and forth the entire way. And so like, Amanda Marino, Ashley Higginson, like all those girls, like I respected
saw each other every week. Every week we saw the same people at all the same meets.
Yeah. Yep. And some of the best people in the nation that went on to be All-Americans in college. Like it was an incredible conference, like looking back at it. Like we
were loaded.
The girls that were insane. I mean, Amanda Marino did great things at Nova, Ashley Higginson at Princeton. Like it was just crazy. So your senior year, you go and you win the national championship in the 1600, right?
My junior year, I won nationals in the 1600.
You broke 440, which to me at the time was like, that is unbelievable.
Or no, sorry, it was the full mile.
Full mile, yeah. You ran a 439. I'm like, holy cow, insane.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like that was such a surreal moment in my life because I can remember vividly like being behind Jordan Hesse and just like, I don't know, it's just like staring at her, really the top of her head because she was so much shorter than me.
Short, yeah.
But like every like time I would pump my arms, like my hair would like hit her like, or my hand would hit her long hair. And it was as if I was like pulling her hair, and I was like, sorry, I'm not trying to do that. He had such a long ponytail. But like, I just remember it felt like such a interesting like vibe almost, because I was in it, but I wasn't really feeling it. Like I felt like I was almost like outside of my own body in some respects. It didn't feel real. Like I was looking around. I remember looking at like the scoreboard and being like, this is beautiful. Oh, I like the feel of this pace. Like this feels nice and smooth. Or
the artist came out in you.
Yeah, like
it was like just, there.
It was really bizarre. And like I don't think I fully realized like I was going into the bell lap until like hitting, going into the final straightaway. And I was like, oh shoot, I need to get ready to go. Like we're about to go into the one lap to go. Okay, time to like put the, get ready to hit the slam on the accelerator here. But like it was just such a surreal moment. I just feel like all the stars had aligned in that moment for me. Like my training, like I just feel like I was peaking at the exact right time. My head was in the right place, and like it was just everything was lining up exactly how it was supposed to be. And the beautiful thing too is before I'd even started warming up, I got the privilege of watching Jillian Smith run in the freshman mile at nationals and win the freshman mile. Yep. Like before I warmed up, and I was just like going nuts in the stands watching her. And then like that just got me so excited and confident and fired up. So I was like, it was just the perfect weekend.
I just remember checking like, the results like all the time. Cause like back in the day, we were using our AOL dial up and checking Ed Scullion's to see if he reloaded it. Cause all
die stat
videos. Yeah, exactly. And I just remember like, and I said this to Robbie when Robbie was doing his good stuff. Like as I was in school, like I was pumped watching Robbie, like from like a shore conference pride. It was even better. It was like, that's Ocean County right there. Like on the map between you and Jillian, it was like, just national champs from Ocean County, like one of like our cousin like schools, like Southern, like you all feel as much as like I wanted to beat every single one of you, like all the people there was a camaraderie there of that's our county and we're on the map. And it was awesome. I remember we were all just pumped. We're like, wow, someone from our county too. Like we have a national freshman champ and a national champ. Like it was really cool. It was cool to see. I had to say, just from like the outside looking in, for you to know, like we were all pumped that you guys did that.
Yeah, because it was such a different world. We didn't have like Instagram, and
we had MySpace, and we just made fun of each other. Like I don't know if you girls did it, but the guys, we just constantly at a wall making fun of each other, like the different like I remember like from Mondom we had like Ray Coles and George Johnson, and like I think Craig was involved at some points, and we would just sit there and just say like really mean things to each other, but then we'd see each other and be fine. But that was kind of just like what we did. yeah I feel like it wasn't really, I don't know, I guess I would connect with some runners that way, but it wasn't what social media is now. No Strava.
To really feel like and see how much, people really were into it, and supported each other. Like, it's cool to hear that.
The fact that running has become like a social media thing is just really weird, because Strava has really brought it into this like social media aspect. And I don't know how I feel about it. Like it's cool in some ways, but in other ways, like you said, like you're trying to get this killer instinct. But how do you get this killer instinct when like you're legitimately friends with those people? Like we saw each other at meets, we knew each other. Maybe every once in a while we'd like meet on a training run in the summer, like things like that. But it wasn't like we were like super close. Now these people are actually hanging out outside of. It's like, stop hanging out with them. Like, don't be that nice. Like, how you gonna, be a little mean, a little bit. It's okay to be. You got to be a little mean to just go out and drop a hammer down on somebody. Like, you can't always be nice. So I want to jump into your Michigan time. So you choose to go to Michigan, and it was really cool because like our two New Jersey's best both went to Michigan. Between you and Craig, like that had to be like an awesome thing for Michigan, getting two of the nation's top runners. Was it a little more comforting knowing that another short conference person was going there at the same time as you?
Yeah, I was really excited. I don't remember who had signed first, honestly, like it's kind of a blur. But I remember just like when I heard about Craig going, I was like, oh yeah, like I need to get to know this other like New Jersey runner. Like obviously I knew of him, but like we really didn't know each other, that well. And so like I was just excited to have someone that like I knew of, that I could start to kind of connect with a little bit more and talk about, our excitement over heading to Michigan, Ann Arbor the following year. And just to feel like we had I had someone else that's like really far away that, we could connect with when we're missing New Jersey things. And,
Yeah.
Our New Jersey meets, it's a pretty special place that not a lot of people really totally get unless they're from New Jersey.
So how long after you get there did it take you to start recruiting Jill to
I think Z was the one that was kind of planting that seed in her ear, because honestly, I did not think she was going to come to Michigan. Like she was, a future botanist or marine biologist like that. She had the science STEM background and she loved animals and plants. And so I was like, she's going to Stanford or someplace warm, that's really like extremely competitive from an academic standpoint. And not that Michigan isn't, but I just didn't see her coming there. You know what I mean?
It's okay to acknowledge
like on the coast or like by the ocean or something like that, because she was also a surfer. So when she like even just came on a visit to Michigan, I was like so pumped. Yes, we can hang out at least for a little bit, but I still didn't think she was going to come. And then she signed and I was just like, what? Like my world was like turned upside down. I was like, oh my God. I was so like, it felt like a little piece of home was coming to Ann Arbor to be with me. It really just felt like my family was going to be there. Like, and that was so huge for me, because I did feel like I was homesick a lot and missing, that family support, and just having Jill there really made me feel like, I could start to thrive more. And I felt like I had my support person and she had hers. So like it was pretty beautiful. And ironically, we were never cross country teammates until Michigan, because she was a soccer star in high school.
Oh, really?
I do remember that Jillian did play soccer.
Mm-hmm.
She was really good at soccer too.
She was really good. And then someone like hit her in the knee, and then she got this big knee injury her sophomore year. And then that was like it. She was like, that's it. I'm going to focus on running. This is where like, I know I want to go and be a big time runner in college. She's like, I'm going to focus my energies on that.
So talk us about some Michigan memories, because you had a really good career at Michigan too. Was it
a lot of good DMR, like county titles and stuff?
Yeah, it wasn't like you dropped off there, So talk about Michigan and some of your best memories from competing over at Michigan.
Yeah, I feel like Michigan, things got off to a little bit of a rocky start, I think, because it's just a big, tough transition going from high school to college, especially like
Big
competing on a program in a D1 school where it's basically like you're a small fish now in a giant ocean, right? So like it really takes a hit to your confidence. And I think another thing that was really challenging for me was like we had an insane group of pro runners, pro athletes: Anna Willard, Morgan Usini, Nicole Cifuentes was still on the team at the time, but she was like on track to be a pro runner as well. And Katie Erdman. So like all these girls that were like sub 2-minute 800 runners, 4:05, 1500 runners, like American record holders in steeplechase, like training at Michigan. And I was just kind of like thrown in there with them for workouts. And so like my indoor track season, I just remember working out with them and like literally like I was peeling myself off the ground to get to the starting line for the next rep, because I was just like in that much pain. Like I was basically like hitting PRs, like running 130 and a 600 and then get up and do it again. And like in workouts, but then like the races, I was just like totally like steamed. I was exhausted. And so like it wasn't really translating. Because I think I was like overdoing it.
Overtraining, yeah.
Yeah, overtraining. So I think between that and just like running my easy runs too hard. Like there was just a lot of hard lessons learned that freshman year. And
So,
then,
you get through freshman year. Yeah, you get through freshman year, you get through that. When did it start to click for you at Michigan? When did the training all start to click? Because a lot of us, a lot of freshmen go through that same transition, right? Where it's like you go from running 40, 50, maybe 60 at most in high school miles. And then all of a sudden you're asked to do 70, 80, consistent 60. Like you're running at your high plus a lot faster all the time. When did that click for you and it start to really roll at Michigan?
Yeah, I think that's another good point is like the mileage. Like it was a big jump. I went from running, I think at the most like 30 miles a week.
Yeah.
At Southern to 55, 60 my freshman year. So it was like,
it's doubled.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot to adjust to. But I'd say my sophomore year, my body was starting to click a little bit. I think I was getting back to hitting PRs or right around my PRs in the mile again. During the indoor season and outdoor, that was the first year that I had qualified individually for the outdoor national championships. And I had made it to the finals in the 1500, but I just did not do well in the finals. But I would say like, just getting to the finals, that was like, that was a huge, goal. And so I felt really fulfilled by like just getting there because it was so competitive. So things were turning around there. I would say going into my junior year, I was really fired up after that, like outdoor track season. And so I put in a really solid summer of training and I was really fit going into cross season. And then I got injured.
The story so always the story.
There's a lot of like interruptions, and just like, just challenges along the path in college, but it's kind of one of those things that just comes with the territory. When you're pushing yourself to that level, it's at some point you're going to you're tiptoeing on the edge of like greatness and falling off the cliff and getting hurt.
We talked to Julie Cully and Julie Cully talked about that, just like really good shape, getting hurt. Now I'm crying. Really good shape, getting hurt. Like Julie's episode she just talked about the rockiness and people don't realize that the mental perseverance that you have to be great because, especially with running, injuries happen much more frequently in running than any other sport because of the way we have to train our bodies in order to keep in that level. So, so at that point you had Jill there, right? So what was it like? Right? Being hurt, having that support system and having that person there that's like, I know who you are, Danielle. Let's go pick this back up, that type of stuff.
Yeah. I think that was huge. Just having her when I was down, like obviously I was there for my teammates still and like wanting to be around for them, to cheer them on and support them, even though I was going through a dark time. But, having Jill there, like it made me like, it helped me kind of like get me out from, being in the hole, like mentally, a little bit more because I really felt like my family, like my immediate family, like a sister was out there racing. And so I was like, I need to be there for her, not just my team, but like for Jill. So that was powerful. And then, once I was able to start training again, I was just like, I want to get back on this DMR team. I want to race with you at nationals. Like, let's do it. So we just held each other accountable. We supported each other. We just knew each other. Like when we were truly down or hurting, like, and we were putting on a brave face, like we knew something was up, you know what I mean? So like we were there to have those talks.
So you're there at Michigan, you're going through your injury. What, when you come back, what's the mindset? And like, talk to us about the rest of your career there. Like what other memories, fill you of the rest of your time at Michigan?
Mm-hmm. I think when I was coming back, my mindset was just, okay, it's like, it's a clean slate. Like, when we come back, we got to be smart about it, but, and ease back into things, but like, don't count yourself out. Like, don't put anyone on a pedestal. Like you're still, you still have the stuff, and we had the ability to train at a pretty high level still, like when we were injured with, some of the resources that we had available to us, like Alter G treadmills and, things like that, which we didn't have anything like that in high school to be able to help us. when we were injured. So like I took full advantage of those resources, and I would say I was like rocking my workouts on the Ultra G. So I felt pretty good. Obviously, like getting back to running at 100% body weight over ground, that's a whole different story. So like it took some adjustment, but eventually I got there, and my fitness started to come back, and I was a little bit more rested going into the rest of the year that year.
Yeah.
But what was it? Junior, gosh, it all blurs together. I want to say there was 2 years where Jill and I were on the same DMR team where we got All-American together in the DMR. I just can't fully remember if it was like junior year. I think it might have been senior year actually, where we got on the podium together, which was really exciting. And then my 5th year, senior year. So that junior year that I lost to injury, I was able to come back and recover it with a 5th year. And that was a pretty magical moment where I felt like it really all was finally clicking, like the training, the strength, like things were coming together for me. And like cross country, I was really just starting to figure it out, like how to race, how to like overcome some of those mental barriers in such a long race over, hills and things like that I didn't love because I was a track specialist. But yeah, like that was when I won my first individual regional cross country title. And I had never been All-American individually in cross, but that was the closest that I'd come. I think I was like 45th or something like that. And it was like top 40. It was All-American. Mm-hmm. So I was close, but like, I was just really proud of that entire season. I felt like it was like one of the cleanest seasons I'd put it together from start to finish. Jill was running really well. We also had Becca Addison on our team that was running incredibly well. I think we went 1-2 at regionals that year. And our cross country team had kicked major butt, like, and won the regional team title. I think we felt like we had gotten vengeance a little bit because the week before was the Big Ten championships. And I think we had finished second by like 3 points or something like that.
Ouch.
So that was like we were all pretty frustrated about that one. So like we kind of channeled it all into the regional championships and at nationals, like not only did I run well, like my whole team did. And I think it was like I don't remember what we placed, but it was like one of the highest finishes like in program history, like in a really long time. So I felt like I was going out on a high note, and like the program was rebuilding and heading back on track. So felt good. So
your 5th year, did you just have cross country?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I did stick around because it was the Olympic trials year 2012. So I was trying to train to make the Olympic trials in the 1500. And I got really close. I had another breakthrough with the 1500. I was running like 414 was my PR at that point. Finally, I brought it down from like 417 to 414. And I had hit the B standard, and I think I was like 8 or 9 people out from on the descending order list from being able to make it, but they only took top 30. And so I was one of the people that didn't get to go to Eugene. But ironically, if I had been in Eugene that week, I wouldn't have met my husband.
So there you go.
Things happen for a reason. There you go.
Yeah, that was the week that I met my husband in Ann Arbor. So yep. And he was actually supposed to be traveling with his athlete that he was coaching, because at the time he was studying to get his PhD in New Zealand, and he was coaching an athlete from New Zealand that had qualified for the Olympics in the 1500. But she had this like injury that was going undiagnosed in New Zealand. They couldn't figure out what was going on. And so they took her, because we had this New Zealand, Michigan connection with Nick Willis. Mm-hmm. Kyle reached out to them, stayed with them, and connected his athlete with like some really good doctors out in Ann Arbor, and they figured out what's going on. And she had a pretty bad injury, so they had to like truly shut it down at that point. Sucks. Which sucked for him because like he really wanted to be, traveling on their pre-Olympic like training camp all throughout Europe, and he was so excited to do that. So he was really depressed that he didn't get to do that. I was really depressed that I didn't get to go to Eugene to compete at the Olympic trials. But, we met each other's love of our lives. So it worked out.
All worth it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So you get post-college and you decide to give it a try at, being a pro. What went into that decision? Because we've talked to people that are like, I wanted to do it and then I didn't and this and that. Like, what went into your decision of, wanting to try and go that route?
Yeah, I think because my fifth year, like finally things were really starting to click, and I was like, I was finally like, I think I do want to at least stick it out for another year. And I was so close to making the Olympic trials. I just feel like I was having more breakthroughs that I wasn't ready to shut it down, so it was starting to click finally after 4 years. So I think that's part of the reason, but I really was ready to go back to New Jersey. I missed my family. I missed my home, my community. So, I was ready to be back there. So initially my plan was to train with Satorsky, like go back to my high school coach, help him assistant coach with the high school team, and then just train with him. But he was like, I just don't know how we're going to do this. He's like, I don't have time. Like, and you deserve and need a lot of time to be able to really truly do this right.
Good for him though. Like that takes a lot to say that, like he who could possibly, be a pro runner. And he's like, no, you know what? That's not what's best for you. I don't want to be, cocky or egotistical. So we're going to figure out what's best for you. So
that's then being a great coach.
Yes.
Yeah. And he is one of the best.
I remember I was coaching at Manchester. I was the head girls coach when he decided to step down to go into administration. And there weren't that many other coaches that were that upset because he was so good. Like his teams were so good. It was like, finally, someone else has a chance. I mean, but he was a gem of a guy. Like he would talk to anybody. He was just such a good guy. And you could tell like how much admiration that every athlete had for him. And he was just like I was a younger coach and, he would say, hey man, like, how's it going? Great job. Just he knew every kid on every team and what event they were doing. And, he was great.
He had so much passion, and he still does have so much passion for the sport. Like it was just infectious. It spread to everyone, and so like on the days when we were just grinding out on the hills, like, hyperventilating because the 30-mile-an-hour winds are blowing us over. Like he'd be out on the hill, just like dancing and like making everyone laugh. And like who does that? Like he found a way to make like the hardest days so much fun. Like he was just like gifted in such a magical way, and he was just brilliant in the way that he was able to like help you, like kind of trick you into doing ridiculous things, like and helping you believe in yourself. Like he knows the mental game. He's just incredible with like peaking training and writing incredible training programs for his athletes, and really knowing what works and what's not working, and reading his athletes, knowing when to pull them back and when to push harder. I got so lucky like having him as a coach.
It is hard to make running fun. And when you can make distance running fun at a high school level, then, and get the most out of it. Like, again, you can make it fun by letting people slack off, and making it fun while making them work harder than they thought they could.
It's a skill.
Is a gift. It is a gift, and it's difficult to do. So, you go to Michigan. What was it like being a New Jersey girl going over to Michigan? And it's like, obviously people knew you were your national champion, but it's like, did you take that New Jersey pride of like everyone being like, this national champ from the pit of the United States is coming over to the Great Lakes region? Like, did you kind of take a chip on your shoulder heading into there? Like, not only are, high school, like I'm also from Jersey type of thing.
Yeah. Well, it just definitely annoyed me. Like all the crap people would say about Jersey. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, nothing about New Jersey. I
spent my life on the beach. What did you do? Like,
I know. Like, okay, come visit New Jersey for a little bit. I'd change your whole perspective. Like,
my high school has you'd be like, well, my high school has a surfing team. Yours doesn't.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, ours did too. We had surf club.
I'm just saying, yours, yeah.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, what does your school have? Ski club? Whoa. Yeah. So sometimes we'd talk smack, but like I think a little like I did have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder by like all the crap I used to have to take because most of the girls on the team were from Michigan. There was a lot of New Jersey, New York people that went to Michigan. Like there's a big New Jersey, New York like connection with U of M. So that like, I felt like my kinship there.
Yeah.
Like, I had my people,
Go
but it
Northeast.
wasn't until like Jill came on the team where I was like, all right, here we go. Finally. I have my Jersey girl over here with me. Like, let's go.
We'll tell you guys about pork roll. This is what I'm talking about. Jill, you know what I'm talking
pizza,
about.
Like the pizza is not good in Michigan.
No.
You need to come to New Jersey or New York and try the pizza. Like it'll change your life. Like
how cold is winter there? Is it like no joke?
Like the thing is, it's not really as cold as it is, at least from where I'm from in New Jersey, like because being so close to the ocean, like you get that humid cold, like where it's just like it gets to your bones.
And that cutting wind that can come off the water.
Right through you, where like you really feel it in your bones. So like honestly, I didn't feel like the cold was as bad. It's just the volume of snow that we got was a lot, and the length of time that winter lasts for is a lot longer here. So that's something that, I've definitely could change. I could use a little bit more sunshine in the winter.
So when you went to New Jersey, New York track club, that was still with Gagliano, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was like Julie Collier there and Aaron Donahue and was
Aaron wasn't there any longer. I think she was, I don't know, maybe like a year or two out from had left the group for a bit there. And I'm not sure if she had moved on and joined a different group at that point, but Julie Coley was still there. Ashley Higginson. Sorry, my dog is whining in the background.
It's okay. We love dogs here.
Because I know like Julie.
She's a GSP, so she's a whiner.
Julie and Robbie Andrews both made it clear that it was New Jersey, New York track club. They were clear that it was New Jersey first.
Yeah.
They're like, no.
Yep, it's on all of the gear.
Except Wikipedia has it wrong.
Wikipedia has it for Robbie's. They have it as New York, New Jersey. So I have to go on there and edit that. But we know Wikipedia is not real, so it's okay.
Wikipedia.
Danielle's about to go on there and make that adjustment.
I know. Get it straight, guys.
So,
but yeah, it was a really great team to train with. We trained hard. It was like 3 workouts a week, and a long run, and I think the training I got at Michigan definitely prepared me for that. But I would say the biggest change was like the speed that we did at New Jersey, New York Track Club on Fridays it was fast. Like it was like my high school days fast, which I definitely lost a lot of speed when I went to Michigan, but gained a lot of strength. Yeah. But like I really hadn't tapped into that kind of like leg speed in years. And so like we would be doing like crazy things like, I don't know, we'd do like a 500 to start the workout off, and we'd go through in like 58, 59, and then just keep going. And then it would just be like all out. And then, you'd have full recovery and then just do like a bunch of 2s or whatever, and just really fast. So like, I was really excited that like my speed was coming along, but it was a grind of a program. I think I was pretty emotionally and physically spent by the end of that year.
So we ask all of our, former New Jersey runners, especially the ones that, competed in Meet of Champs, won Meet of Champs, things like that. New Jersey seems to be, they seem to have cooled down a little, but NJSIAA is constantly under threat of taking away Meet of Champs, whether it be XC, track. What would you say if you had the ability to go and talk to NJSIAA and what would you say to them about your experience at Meet of Champs? The bragging rights that you had going into Michigan, because one of the things Robbie said is he would go and last week and he was like, we're one of the rare states where we actually have a state champion. Mm-hmm. Everyone wins their group or their region, and they're like, there's like 20 state champs. It's like New Jersey has a singular state champ. What would you say for anyone that's thinking of changing that?
I think we need to keep that, or New Jersey needs to keep that. Like, honestly, like in Michigan, it blew my mind that they didn't have a meet of champions.
That's
like,
what
honestly, I think
Robin
I
said
was
too,
kind
yeah.
of naive to the fact that New Jersey was like the
No,
only
there
state
are
that
not
did
many
that.
states that like most of them stop at like the sectionals or the group. So you'll have like
Yeah.
20, like 10 state champs in the 1600.
Right, exactly.
You
I
know,
hate that. I'm like,
whereas Jersey, it's like
how do
the
you
best of
really
the best,
know? Are you really the state champ?
right?
Like, I'm
Especially
like,
cross
you're the
country
overall
because like
state champ.
especially
Like,
cross country because like that's the same course on the same day. Like it's
mhm.
the best just going at it.
Right. You got all the middle distance. You can't avoid anyone. Like, you
No,
got all the middle distance kids, all the distance runners, like everyone's toeing the line on. Yeah, you can't pick and choose based on who you think is going to race like one specific event. So I think it's such an awesome thing. Like, and honestly, other states are trying to follow suit. Like in Michigan here, where they're trying to build up like a meet of champions for cross country and a meet of champions for track. And it's just not like, it doesn't have the prowess yet because there's just so many other meets that Michigan schools have been going to that weekend. So it's like there's just so much other competition at this point. But I'm hoping that it'll get to that level like it was in New Jersey, where you truly feel like there's a all group state champion crowned.
and like everyone goes like
the best of the best. Like, I think that's such a cool thing.
I think last year was the first year where they had a lot of kids skip it because it got pushed back and it was the same weekend as nationals and like now there's like 3 national meets. Like it's just crazy.
That too.
It's like, come on, like you're national champ,
the competition.
but yeah, it's like Nike, New Balance. It's like just have one, and that way the best of the best in the whole country can. It's too many meets.
I know. It's really gotten ridiculous because you don't feel as, I don't know, successful, like, and like it's a true all-American status, like it used to be back in the day. Like you literally face the best of the best, and there's like, no doubt about it.
Like you beat Jordan Asai, like that's because she was there. Now you might go to that meet, she might go to the Nike one or the Adidas one. Now like everyone's together.
There was nowhere else to go back in the day. Like there was only one. Like I really wish that we could get back to that. So if it's a New Balance versus Nike, like maybe one of them can take outdoor nationals and the other one takes indoor nationals, and then we can truly crown a national champion. Like
or another thing, make those like the regional champs. Like you can go to New Balance, Nike, Adidas. You could do those top 5 from each meet in a real national championship and everything. And let them all go duke it out. But then again, I don't know. Everyone wants to get their piece of the pie. That would be like Honor Hoka would run like the national championship at this point, considering how much they're like dominating. So last thing I want to ask you, because you were in the sport for a long time, you did compete at basically the highest level, going into the pro level. How do we get this sport to reach casual fans? We have, asked basically all of our guests, and everyone's come up with some decent ideas. If you had the opportunity to sit there and put an idea on the table of how to get the casual fan interested in watching a 10K and, watching, you compete in like a DMR and things like that, like what would you try to do in order to get that like down to the base level there?
Oh gosh, I think one thing that really makes running so hard is that like what they need to hold on to is like an really an individual athlete is, they're connecting with an individual athlete versus like, at the Olympics every 4 years, they're connecting with their national team, which I think is something that really like everyone can get behind. In other sports, they have all these leagues. NFL, they have different teams in different regions. Like, I know this would be a complete restructuring of track and field, but like if we could find a way to create some kind of like team that represents larger communities of people, I think that would be something
like a Northeast team,
sustainable. Yeah, like then an individual that's gonna potentially be injured or, be only have a certain amount of years that they can compete at for a high level. And then they're gone. It's just the lifespan of the individual is a lot less than the lifespan of like a team. So if there was a way, I know this would be like crazy to do, but like to restructure like the sport. So there was like a team system play. I think that would really help.
Definitely heard that, and another huge issue too is like if Nike's running a meet, can they get the athlete who's sponsored by Adidas or sponsored like that there's just so many issues with sponsorship and like knowing what athletes are going to be at what meets. That's what Alex always says. Like, if we can get away, like this athlete's going to be at this meet, so fans know that they're going to be there, and this athlete's going to be here. Like, you don't know, and then finding it on TV is another whole disaster. Everything's on stream. Like, there's nothing on like free on TV. Every place. This is on FloTrack. This is on Peacock. This is on this. You know, so it's like having a network and a home would be awesome too. Because you're right. Like every 4 years, people care. And then, but I do like now what I'm seeing on Twitter, like, you know, like Fred Curley calling out Marcel Jacobs, and now they're actually going to race. Like these people that are, you know, like
Noah Lyles absolutely shitting on Fred Curley, pardon my French, being like, why am I threatened by him? And it's like, we need that. I don't know if we're ever going to get that really from distance runners, because distance runners are a lot of really nice people, but we need the sprinters to be like, you know, really getting into it. So, I mean,
some big personalities.
Tracktown tried to do that. And I think the issue is we need a lot of deep pockets, because what is it a lot with these sports leagues? It's 32 billionaires or a bunch of millionaires that get together to have $1 billion. And, you know, we need something like that where a few people with deep pockets, and I say all the time we talk about this, there's got to be deep pocket track people, because let's face it, especially distance runners, we're a bunch of nerds. So it's like we are making money. There is a lot of, you know, people that are making money in track and field, and like, come on, start to give it back, form something together. Like
guaranteed contracts too. You need guaranteed contracts to say, all right, we're going to pay you $100,000, but you have to go to these 6 meets. You know, like you have to know who's going to be at what meets and who's going to be there. And then, you know, I still think Sarah Slattery had one of the best things on our whole show. She said, put it on FanDuel, put it on DraftKings.
Betting.
Yep.
Gambling.
People will show interest like that if you say, like, I mean, all right, here's 100 meters.
Big. Like,
you know, and that's what I was saying. We'd probably have to do it as like horse racing, because not many people know runners. So it would be like win, place, or show for the 1600 or the 15, and a little dehumanizing to the athletes. But man, you're going to get paid. So win, place, or show is cool.
If it gets more people excited about what we do, whatever. Like,
exactly. I think
you can bet up.
Gambling would be huge, you know, and it's just
stop fighting with your puppy, Danielle. You could bring your puppy here. Say hello.
There we go. No, but there's so many things. There's so many things that can be done, and I feel like there's none of it is actually getting done. But hopefully we're on the right path, you know, now that everything's kind of, you know, streamed, and, you know, like there's more ways to watch it now. And I love FloTrack. They've been so good for the sport. Citius Mag has been awesome. So hopefully a lot of these new companies could come out.
And Talking in Ovals is about to be great too for the sport.
Heck yeah.
But it is. But yeah, so you know, I like that. I think that's a great idea, you know, getting back to teams. And I know that's something that, you know, again, Tracktown tried to do, but we need to start reaching out to those in deeper pockets. And we're trying to get clips together here that we can eventually like send to like companies like, this is your community. This is what we want. Give trackies this. You'll make
and I'll put a team of New Jersey up against anybody, especially the women now with Sydney and I think Moo and Allie Wilson and like, I mean,
Ajay Wilson. I mean,
Ajay.
Yeah,
so much pride for my New Jersey girls. I'm
listen,
like every time I see them, I'm like, go Jersey.
You can run. I've been saying it for a while. You can run a all New Jersey women's 4x8 team and compete for the world championships.
Win. I think win the world championship.
Because there's no way Sydney McLaughlin can't run a 155.
Oh yeah, she'd probably look like she's jogging. Like I mean, the way she runs those
Ajay Wilson is
she just is like gliding. It's beautiful to watch.
Ajay Wilson would be like you're like third fastest, like running like a 156,
which is
like
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy, but yeah, that will be fun. You know, I'm excited about where the sport goes, and Danielle, I'm also excited that you agreed to come on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me, and I can't wait to hear the podcast and, you know, hear more of what you guys produce. Take a walk down memory lane, listen to Robbie Andrews and all the other people I used to compete against.
Yeah, it was an absolute blast to talk to you again. I'm really pumped that, you know, you agreed to come on. So is there anything that you would like to kind of promote, kind of give a shout out to your team or anything like that?
Gosh, I think, well, I'm obviously my West Ottawa High School Panthers were heading into our regional championships this weekend. So we're hoping to get a lot of state qualifiers for our state group meet, which unfortunately, doesn't quite lead to a meet of championships. Well, not a big one, at least at this point. But we have a lot of really, really good talent in our program, and our girls are really hard workers. So, I know they're going to kill it this weekend. So shout out to them. And yeah, I would just say, for all the any young athletes that are in the sport, I would just say, just make sure you're finding balance with what you do. Yep. Don't put all your eggs in the running basket, or just find a way to shut it off at times. We all need balanced in every, in whatever we love. We need to be able to shut it off. We need to find different layers of ourselves that enjoy different things, because you're so much more than a runner. And I don't want anyone to feel like they have to be defined by, that box that a lot of times people can put you in as an athlete. So
very well said.
Thanks.
And I think that's what we're trying to do here a little bit. We're trying to take, people that know Danielle Tauro, the dominant runner. And I think we heard that there's also Danielle Tauro, the person today that went through ups and downs and trials and tribulations. And top to bottom, Dave, I think the coolest thing is, you've mentioned this before. We've had all these great runners. We've had American record holders. We've talked to Olympians. And what do they say? Their best memories are what I did on the relays, that team championship that we won. And as much as it's such an individual sport, it is a team sport as well. And that comes with, kind of shutting off the competitiveness as an individual and wanting to do well for everyone else. So, to simplify it down for people that don't want to understand what Danielle said, go watch Shrek. Be like an onion, have some layers. There we go.
Nice. Love it.
So, Dave, anything else before we get out of here?
Now, listen, it's always great to talk to someone, from your area who did so many great things, and just to hear Danielle talk as a person, as a human, I'm sure she gets just as much pride now being a coach and being a mom and a wife than she did when she was competing. So just hearing her talk about the whole aspect of, your life is more than just who you are as an athlete. Live everything and have fun and just embrace every aspect of your life. I think that's a very powerful message. And I do feel like younger runners now are kind of getting more of that, that they are more socializing and that they are doing more things in their life. And maybe that's why we are seeing faster times, because they are, taking it serious, but they're also using all aspects of life, and they just seem like they're happier when I go to a meet now. Their faces aren't all I have to win. It's just let's go out and compete, and hopefully that's a fun message. Yep. Yeah, hopefully there's more of a fun aspect.
Yes, and then
go be a kid and go to the beach afterwards. You can do all those things too.
So. Once again, Danielle, thanks for coming on. I was pumped. It was always cool to talk to somebody who, graduated the same year I did, shared the same track, and I had the privilege of, watching you at every single big meet, just absolutely dominate, and Jillian and Kelsey and everything. So as much as, I was trying to beat Southern, I had respect, we all had respect for everything that you guys were doing. So it was awesome to talk to you once again. We're talking in ovals. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like, share, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Spread this word of mouth. Go search Talking in Ovals on the socials. And we will be back next week, everyone. So long.